Yeah. Hi.
I I have a question to look at something. Um, like sometimes when I feel that there is some injustice, like some things happening, for example, now with these lawyers in the Netherlands and or like some corruption or also in my job where I have to ask help for people and if it gets rejected in a way that I think is very unfair or unlawful or I get really triggered um, and I don't think that's very helpful. Um,
No, no. So you're seeing clearly. But just when you say you get triggered, you could say
yeah,
triggering happens. It's just touching some old information. And just see the difference between saying I get triggered
yeah,
and recognizing that it's an opportunity, because it's just showing you where something automatic, it functions automatically unconsciously. It has nothing to do with you. If it was up to you, it wouldn't happen.
yeah.
Yeah. Because you can see if it's like you see clearly it's not useful, and it
No,
actually
I
gets in the
get a lot
way.
of anger. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
exactly. It's a big judgment and like all kinds of a whole cluster thing
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
happening
It's made up.
inside.
It's
Yeah,
made up for sure. Underneath
yeah,
the anger is powerlessness.
yeah.
It's like it's
Because yeah,
unjust.
that's really
Yeah.
true. Yeah,
So, and anger is more easy. I mean, sometimes anger is more easy to recognize. You could say the powerlessness is less easy to get in touch with. Like there's something's wrong and I can do nothing about it. So the anger kind of gives you some false sense of power, but it's not true power. It's like it's distorted. It's
it's true because I can feel underneath there's this big feeling of like helplessness. Yeah,
helplessness, yeah, or
powerlessness.
powerlessness,
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is part of the human condition. It's like you just see what's going on in the world everywhere, like people being bombed and because of why? No reason really, just yeah. So just recognizing that
yeah.
actually you're in this exploration for everybody that's in this circumstance. It's not personal to you. It's part of the human condition, say, and it's happening all over the planet now. So many people feeling like there's just no justice. It's not fair. It's not right. It's just
Yeah, and there's like such a strong feeling of this shouldn't happen, like they shouldn't do this, like they, oh, it's really strong.
so yeah. So
Uh,
I mean, with that, the Byron Katie work is fantastic. This shouldn't
yeah.
be happening. Okay, and you know that that's true.
No, I actually know it's not true.
You know it's
Yeah,
not
because
true.
it's
Yeah.
happening.
And
Yeah.
then what happens if that's believed in? What happens?
Yeah. I get very angry and upset.
Yeah. And then um, and who's doing that to you? I mean, just it's like Just
Always.
basically a thought. Who's doing that to you? That anger and upset.
Yeah.
You're not even doing it to yourself.
Yeah.
It's just, it's just unconscious.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing it to you, not even yourself. The anger's trying to help, but it doesn't. So we
Yeah,
have this
without the
idea,
thought, there's
without the thought, there's just what's happening and then how to practically
yeah.
deal with it. What actually can be done.
And it's funny because it's very physical. Like I
Mhm.
immediately, it goes so quickly that I feel like this rush and like
Mhm.
this like
Yes.
fight, actually, a fight
Well,
mechanism. Yeah.
look, it's how many generations of trauma is this touching?
Yeah.
Not fair. Not, I mean, look in Europe 200 years ago. I mean, all the women that were burnt for being witches, or you
Yeah.
were born onto somebody's land and they could do anything they wanted with you and your children and your partner. They could do anything. They didn't have this idea
Yeah.
of justice or fairness. It was just whatever the person who owned the land felt like doing, they could do. But then, we've
Yeah.
come
And
up
the
with this.
idea of justice now makes it even worse because there is still
Yeah.
no justice. And then there's their idea that there should be justice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's just life happening. Yeah.
It's just like, it's like if you were trying to talk to a lion about, listen,
Yeah.
it's not so cool for you to eat little animals, cute, especially little cute animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
It's
same.
just life. It's just life doing its
Yeah.
thing. And then without that idea of fair or justice, how is it, just
Yeah. Yeah. Then it's really if there's really no idea about how it should be and
yeah.
how life should be, and then yeah, then it's almost very strange. Like life is just happening, and we're just dealing with it moment by moment, kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And those ideas of justice and all that stuff, it's interesting to see, like for most of mankind's history, we've had slaves,
Yeah.
and we still do. It's just we don't call them slaves anymore. We just
Yeah.
put people into an economic circumstance, and there's no, they have no options basically. And so this, in a way, you could say this bringing this idea of justice and all that stuff um, made people, in a sense, victims of that idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a very clever device in a certain sense.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. But then again, it's just like also in our history, like the Romans would come in and then some people would go and live in the forests and attack the Romans and fight with them, and not out of justice, just out of survival. This is like, okay, we don't want to be killed, or we're willing to die, but we want to die on our terms, fighting or whatever. So you can, you're dealing with. It sounded like you're dealing with uh, liars or lawyers. Some people call them lawyers, some people call them liars. this funny system.
Yeah, like some people standing up for things and then getting arrested, like the whole, but it is like the jungle kind of, in a way, of just survival, and like these systems just, yeah, somebody stands up for what he thinks is right, and then
Yeah.
another person, yeah, gets
It's so
afraid.
interesting because when you see someone like the Dalai Lama and the people ask him, how come you didn't fight? And he said, I didn't want to kill anyone. I didn't want to, for me, that's not my journey. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like getting into, fighting is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But again, just what is your journey? Like getting really clear. What's the priority for you? You know that story I tell about that little monk where, there was an
Yeah.
invading army and everybody left and this little monk stayed in this monastery and the army came straight through and the general came in front of this little monk, put his sword on his shoulder and said, you know who I am? I could cut off your head and not even blink an eye. And the little monk said, you know who I am? You could cut off my head and I wouldn't blink an eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then you see, okay, who's more powerful, the general or the little monk? Yeah.
And it is like, because that fighting and there's all those ideas, and it's all based on a lot of separation feeling, and not from the deeper perspective
Yeah.
of life.
So
Yeah.
so we can make that mental, you could say. But I think what's more useful is just getting in touch, really stopping for a moment. What's the priority in this moment? Is it fighting or is it peace? And it's funny because Popsy never had a thing about fighting. He said that, aiming down a rifle is a fantastic meditation. He was a soldier. But just for you, in this one, like it can be, how could I say, it's like fighting can happen like Krishna and Arjuna going to war, it's like, but is it possible that fighting can happen without the whole emotional right, wrong, good, bad? It's just, okay, I'm fighting because this is what needs to happen
Yeah.
in this moment. There's a lion trying to attack me and I need to do what I can to stay out of its mouth.
Yeah, like for example, in my work,
Yeah.
um that's getting better and better, actually, that I can do it as, okay, this is the role I'm playing in this,
Mhm.
without any ideas of, okay, it shouldn't be happening, or this is what I'm doing right now,
Yeah.
without, so I know the difference of
Yeah.
um of the judgment behind it, or the thoughts, or just this
Yeah.
is how life moves. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's beautiful. That's the opportunity, is to see where, like a judgment comes in, um, or some, just what's playing that causes an activation. It'll just be some thought, some belief, something, it's not, because it's nothing real. It's just, you could say, a mental
Yeah.
position. Yeah. So
Yeah.
beautiful for that to become conscious, I could say, in my view anyway, because otherwise there's
Yeah. And it,
suffering, there's no doubt.
oh, it's
And it's
because it
terrible.
makes such a big difference in,
Mm,
also with, being able to, because before, when I was getting really angry and had these positions, it doing the work was also really not, it was terrible for everybody.
mhm,
And now,
mhm.
yeah, like it's much better. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's just much more loving for everything, for myself, for the others.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
here we
thank
are,
you.
and there's all these expressions of life with Trump and Putin and Netanyahu,
Such
all
a
these,
theater.
yeah,
Yeah,
such a theater of, righteousness and, you know, all of that.
yeah.
And
So
an
many
invitation
positions against
and
each
an
other, and
invitation to join in at that frequency. It's like, okay, no thanks, really not interested.
no, yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. This,
Yeah, thanks for bringing this and for being so vulnerable and sweet in the inquiry. Yeah,
mm, happy to see you quite soon
yeah,
in
cool.
person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, looking forward.
yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you so much.
yeah, let's just check in at the gallery, on the gallery for a second, and just see, did anyone get any value from that inquiry? Is that useful for anybody? Cool.
Oh, yes.
We're all somehow we're in the same boat. There's something's happening, and then there's how it's perceived. This is the and the way it's perceived has been conditioned. And so of course it's going to touch some of that conditioning, some of that old trauma related to it. But so that's the opportunity. Just far out. We get to just watch what gets touched and And it's interesting because the same thing actually kind of plays in us where we think we've done something wrong, and then we've got guilt and blame and shame happening within how life functions with us. It either projects outwards or projects onto how life is living us, basically.
Isaac, hi.
Yeah,
Um, I've had
I don't. I hear a voice, but I don't know who's speaking.
Lynn here.
Lynn,
Lynn,
hey Lynn. Oh,
hey.
cool. Yeah, now I see you, and I've got you on my big screen. Cool.
I've noticed a lot of shame arising.
Okay.
I've been trying to sit with it, and it comes and goes. I want it to go completely, so it doesn't still, got to have a hold on me. Like I can't feel it right this moment, or there's parts I can a bit. There's fear around it.
You know, so my question would be, why give attention to it? Ramanu's invitation is clear. When something shows up, shame, You ask the question, who's aware of it? The answer can only be I am. You bring attention to awareness.
Mm.
But, from a psychological viewpoint, we've got this idea that by giving attention to it, somehow we're going to get rid of it or bring it to peace or whatever the story is. So, it's interesting to see that many of us have that idea, you could say. And so with that, there's always an agenda. We're not curious about shame. We want to get rid of it. Like you spoke so clearly. It's behind. Usually it's behind. And what that does is it gives it energy. It makes it stronger. So there is awareness here. And it's such a fundamental movement in all of us that we focus on the content of awareness rather than awareness itself.
Yep.
It's like, to me, I so understand that urge to want to get rid of something, to fix something, and all that. But usually it doesn't get explored. It seems that actually there's a little confusion in that.
Okay, so I've been asking for why I haven't got the money to buy a home. That's sort of my question. And then out of nowhere, I'm driving along and I have a memory of a situation where I felt shame because I didn't have the money to buy a home.
Mm-hmm.
And that took me into this whole thing. So there's an agenda trying to undo whatever is causing the contraction around money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so look, in there we can see that we've, as a species, we've moved into this whole idea of ownership. Most of the indigenous people don't have that idea of owning the earth or something, you could say. So, that owning actually is a very sneaky way of reinforcing the sense of I.
Yeah. Also self-worth.
And self and all of that stuff. And so we've been conditioned that way. Not right, not wrong. That's just where we find ourselves, right? We even talk about my body, but yet I've never met anyone who's found any ownership papers. There's this bodying activity going on, and it's not separate from totality. Somehow we have this idea that it's separate and it's mine, and there's a boundary to it. But actually it's breathing and it doesn't exist without totality. So it's not separate from totality. It can't be.
Yeah. And
there's not a me that's in the body. The bodying activity is in awareness, as is everything. And somehow we would never say my awareness. We might say my perception, but my awareness, not the way we've been taught. It's just awareness. It's just everything's arising in it, right? So my body is actually the beginning of that whole, my emotions, my feelings, my patterns, my oh my. My and I are very closely related.
So there's a bit of a fight going on inside.
No problem. Describe.
Oh, the ego mind is like, well, I want to have the money to buy the home, so I want to clear the shame. So I want to, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah. Okay, cool.
resistance.
So, yeah, so resistance is showing up.
Mm,
Okay. And so there's a wanting,
yeah.
and you could say identification with the wanting.
Mm,
And again, no right, no wrong to it. It's just a movement. But we can look at it and say, okay, is there a cost to that? And if so, what is it? And if there's a willingness to pay the price of, for the no problem.
Yep. Pressure, stress, etc.
Yeah.
Mm.
And for all the people that think they own something, there's now the 2030 agenda that you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. There's like people figuring out how to get everything that you think is yours. It's a game, it's like so to me it just seems like, okay, we're here and an interest has arisen. And the interest is to be peace itself, to be love itself. Now and now, not putting it off, not postponing, not 1 millisecond. This month, that's it. Once we clear that that's what we're here for, and everything else falls into place. If you, like Ramla would say, the recognition that we're being lived, that everything has been in the hands of something, whatever you want to call it, it's like, and it's a recognition, it's just like, I just see that, it's like, if in a way it's using our thinking capacity, but it's like there's trillions of cells and every one of them is like a universe. It's unreal. And then there's little thoughts that come along that cause all kinds of unrest. And they're just a thought, they're not more, they're just conditioning or old trauma, old information, that's all, nothing more. None of it's actually real. Like we've grown up in a culture that encourages postponement. I'll be happy later when, if. And so, like it's almost every expression is, like in a sense, living through this perspective of, sorry, universe, you made a big mistake. This isn't the way it's supposed to be. And I'm not going to be happy until it is the way it should be. That's called samsara. And it's prevalent, it's just everywhere. And in a few, there's the recognition, this is it, this moment. And it's just like it's all relates to where our attention is and how our attention is there. Samsara and nirvana. And nothing changes outside. As far as I can see. I could be way wrong. I think it resonates with the unknowing. And to meet in this love affair, in this recognition, in this deep knowing, I mean, how beautiful is that? How lucky is that? We're able to hear this invitation, have something in us respond to it and go, yes, I get it. I see. Even though, you know, there's been conditioning and everything else, something recognizes it and goes, yes. I would say that's unbelievable luck, man. At least from where I look. Yeah, thanks for bringing this in. And also, again, just to go to, I find it useful just to go to the gallery view for a second if you can, and just check and see if anyone got value from that, you know, just it's something we all know in some way. Useful to see that what comes up in us is of value to the community, to life, you could say. Mustafa. Hello, Mustafa. You're going into samadhi.
Yeah, I raised hand as just to show that it was useful, but I take the
Oh,
opportunity.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no worries. I thought you were
Yeah.
paying attention. You home?
Yeah, I just came back this afternoon.
Ah, good. Cool. Okay. Go back to the gallery view. There's a feet waving. Hey, feet.
Hi. What did you say? A feet is waving?
Yeah, feet is waving.
But whose feet?
Yeah, exactly.
I think if you do deconstructing like you did in the last of an hour, we cannot even wave. We cannot even put a question. It's impossible. So what are we doing here? This was a question.
Nothing. Meeting the moment of the
Yeah.
beloved. But I mean, that's just a poetic way of saying, me just here. Just here in this inquiry, just a gentle noticing where attention wants to go and bringing it, returning it to its home, basically.
Ah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac. Thank you.
Just while it's on my mind, this coming Tuesday is the last online meeting until mid-August. Alexandra.
Hi, Isaac.
Hi, Alexandra.
Hello. Yeah, I experience a lot of tension in my body, and I see this movement that I'm constantly trying to like get it away and get rid of it, and it's hard to just acknowledge the awareness. So I would just like to do that together with you.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's so, it's like, in a way, the way that, as far as I can see it, the way the nervous system is designed is like, when there's tension or something, that there's some level of discomfort with it. And so our attention goes there, just to check out, is there something, like, do I need to change my posture, or, like, do I need to take a pee, or whatever it is. It's just like, but, when it moves into like, okay, there's something going on, somehow there's tension, and I can see it's it can be from a habit of posture, it can be from many things, I could say, not being in alignment in our lives in some way or another. But ultimately, if it brings you back, your attention back to awareness, then it's done a fantastic job.
Yeah, it just has been very intense the last couple of months, much more than
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Don't really know what is happening, but it's just like an ongoing thing, and I just constantly have the feeling that I have to do something or solve it, and like there's this fear of it.
Yeah. So then you can see, you can see that that's a habit,
Yeah.
and then just, I mean, very gently noticing if that is a useful habit, so to speak. Like we're here now, and we have this moment, and it's like, is it possible to meet in this moment fresh, without any agenda, without any idea of changing anything, fixing anything, getting anywhere? Just, yeah. And it's funny, that somehow every night when we go to sleep, we let go of any wanting to do anything about anything. We don't know what our bank balance is. We don't know anything. We're just happy to leave it all. But in the waking state, somehow we still think it makes sense to go with resistance or something like that. So, but yet our experience is that letting go of everything is actually very sweet. So somewhere your system knows that letting go of everything, just for a moment.
Yeah, I think what is happening a lot for me is that
No, just come to this moment, just exploring in this moment, not having anything to do. You're out of a job. You just, present. Just noticing where it wants to move into past or doing something. Who you are, you already are. There is no separation. There never has been. There never, it's just here. This is it. Tell me what that tastes like, or how you sense that.
yeah, it's more peaceful and sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. Simple, huh?
Seems so complicated.
Anything that's complicated is our thinking. Just being here is not, it's simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love, like the Sufis call this moment the beloved. And it's, it's like in life, if you meet the beloved, that which you've been yearning for, and you actually meet the beloved, how will your body respond? How will everything, every cell respond to that meeting? It'll be a party, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. Love party.
Yeah. And that's the possibility in a moment by moment. This is like that.
Thank you, Isaac.
Ah, beautiful.
Hello, Isaac.
Hi,
It's lovely to be here.
I can see you're enjoying it.
Yeah. I have this, I've asked you this before, it's been up before, but I still have this thorn sort of that there is something, like there is something I'm still not getting, that there is some,
Yeah.
and this is, it's really, it's painful. And
Hmm.
it's like it's keep coming up.
Hmm.
And yeah.
Okay, so let's play. So on the one hand, we got who I am, I already am. On the other hand, we have there's something I'm not getting.
Yeah.
Interesting dichotomy, yeah. It's like because there's a knowing that who you are, you already are.
Yeah.
And this felt sense or this what seems real of there's something I'm not getting. Let's just see what's it made of? What's it based on? What is it that's saying that? And what's it based on? So to me, it can only be based on like a sensation, an interpretation of sensation, and then looking through that as a way of measuring.
Yeah. That was, to me, it seems like it begins with thoughts, ideas, things that I've heard, things that I've.
You know, there's an idea around spiritual circles of being fully enlightened,
Yeah.
whatever that means. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and then different people's opinions of that. Oh, was PUBG fully enlightened? Or any of the people that PUBG sent out, are they fully enlightened? You know, what does fully enlightened mean? And it's like, and who's going to say it? And what, you know, it's like, and PUBG played with it a lot. You know, like he would talk about he only met in his life like 3 or 4 fully enlightened beings, and that he'd never given his final teaching to anyone. And so, you know, and on the other hand, you are who you are already. So like this. So, you know, to me, it's like, okay, there's awareness here, and it's so clear to me that attention, where our attention is, determines our sense of this moment, of the universe we inhabit, of our sense of self. All of that belongs to just where the attention is. Just to speak it as simple as I know how. And the conditioning has been to focus on interpretations of sensations. You know, because the sensations, this moment is a sensation because we perceive it through the senses. So what it is to us is a sensation. And in terms of the tapestry of experience in this moment, you can't say where anything begins or ends, actually. But then somehow, like there's a focusing, like the princess and the pea, focusing on the one discomfort. And that means something.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that you can say doubt comes up. Hey, I'm not who I am, or there's some way to get to, you know, like just based on the slightest sense of not being fully at ease.
Yeah.
That it somehow means something about awareness.
Yeah.
If
It's
you
like
look at this,
here
you can
um, in this field in this sangha, then it's everything's everything is
all
fine.
is yeah.
But this,
So, but it's beautiful to see the mechanisms, because you could say usually, I mean, they're habitual. It's kind of something that's, this measuring of ourself by the interpretation of the sensations of the moment, not realizing that that's been conditioned, not realizing that that's a habit, you could say, that doesn't actually make sense if you really look at it. But, it's like our fathers, our mothers, many generations have functioned that way.
yeah,
And, also, like, not only looking through that filter at who we think we are, but everyone around us. So it's become a habit, like such a habitual.
yeah. There's somehow like this just a coffee machine here. That this thought somehow is like it's really important. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's like I could say, at some point in this, there's this, like, I would call it like an existential doubt. Like I don't, is this it? Can this really be it? It's like something like that. And so, like, as that was showing up on the screen, it was like, okay, there's doubt coming up. In the way somehow inquiry happens in me, okay, doubt is there. What's its function? Oh, it's trying to help me in some ways, to get fully enlightened, or like something, get somewhere. It's like it's and then, okay, so it's not wrong, it's not bad, it's just somehow there's this movement, and has some energy to it, some sense of believing in it in some way. But then just seeing, okay, it's coming with the promise that if I listen to it, some way, it'll assist me. And I look, well, so if I sit with doubt for 1,000 years, is it going to bring me anything? Is it a good companion? Is it good company? It's absolutely no. Then I look like that, I can see, no, it's absurd. Not interested, actually. Doubt can come, front doors open, back doors open, come, and yeah, no, I'm not going to feed you, I'm not going to give you anything in this house, but thank you for coming. I see that you mean well, but just not interested.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
It's not fighting with it. It's not, it's just, okay, yeah, welcome, and no interest at all, because I see what it is. It's just coming with a promise that it cannot, that makes you feel terrible, and promises you something in the future. It's a politician's promise.
Yeah.
It's like somehow in me, had a few like really peak experiences, and somehow I was always measuring the moment by those peak experiences.
Yeah.
And I also saw that was not useful somehow. So this is beyond experience. This is beyond any measurement. It's beyond.
Thank you, Isaac.
Yeah, thank you.
It's really good to expose it.
Oh, it's so good to bring it, because it is something that has been playing in the field, you could say, forever. And
Yeah.
it's rare that it ever gets light really shone on it in a way that we can see clearly. That's all. So yes, let it come and let it be quiet into a million times. Doesn't matter.
Thank you.
Christopher.
Isaac. From this conversation, one question popped up in my mind that when we are in different field, last few weeks I have been in completely different field, and just this religion, ritual based, prayer based things. So still I have clear understanding that what we are, that always you say that we already are, and that and there is no missing and no doubting. But still, when we are in a field, this kind of that, because of that, feel something that no, I'm like not at home kind of feeling comes, that something is different at least. Yeah, I know what I am, but and I have no doubt about it. But still, because I'm living in a different field, I feel the difference that being here in Sangha with you or being in a different field. So how does that happen? And in that situation, what's the thing to do?
Look, I get it, what you're saying. It's just like, in Tibetan Buddhism, they have this one practice. It's a practice. They call it Tonglen.
Sorry, can you say again?
They call it Tonglen, Tonglen.
Okay, Tonglen.
And it's the practice of realizing that everywhere there's expressions of life that are caught up in samsara. And so the practice is breathing all of that in and breathing out love and peace. So it's a funny circumstance. It's look, to me, it is such a beauty in coming together with this love affair. For sure, because at least to my perception, everybody's benefited. But not only the people that have come, it radiates out everywhere. So it's actually, I would say, service to the field.
Yeah.
And yes, of course, sometimes we find ourselves in very different circumstances. Soon I'm going to be going to an airport where the field is very fractured, hardly anybody's in their body, and jumping on an airplane. So, of course, it is like that. That's life. But and it's like, I just know when I'm there, I'm just resting and staying with what's true for me. That's all.
One thing I did that the idea came to my mind that everything is within totality and nothing is outside source. So
Nothing
what
is
is
outside,
happening
yes.
here, that's also part of the
Of course.
part of totality. And though it's different, but
Yeah.
it's a part of the totality.
And that's the thing, is like, you know how bright a candle can seem in the dark night. It's the same thing. You're in a field that's very dark, and you're just sitting there with that little light. You know, it's just, but you don't know who gets touched. You just don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just another thing came to my mind that though, so silence is our true nature, but it's still, it seems that people love actually running and people love to be in action and moving and running these things. So if it is our true
They
nature,
don't love it. They don't love it. What's underneath that is distress, not being at peace. It's a, you know, how can I say it? It's a way of dealing with the stress, is running, so you don't notice. It's a compensation. It's not a loving it.
that's a beautiful
Just-
insight. Yeah, that came to my mind.
Just like, you know, addictions, they're not wrong. They're compensation. That's all. It's just like
Yeah.
dealing with something that's not, really being there.
That's beautiful insight, because the field I was in, actually, it's a completely ritual based running and moving, and altogether
And
one has
judging and
praying,
Yeah.
and these things.
yeah,
So all
praying
movement.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
So I counted that one has to, in 5 days time, had to run on walk about 50 kilometer.
mhm.
So that difficult it was, but and people lovingly doing it. So I get it from
You
it.
say lovingly doing it, but it's, you know, it's, I would say, yeah, what can you do? You know, it's based on that somehow you're going to get some merit from it, that somehow, you know,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah, it's lovingly, maybe not the correct word. It's a maybe greed that I will get heaven or something that,
yeah.
it's greed based that I'm doing
If
it so
you,
that I get heaven.
exactly, and then judging other people on doing it right or whatever, you know, it's like,
Yeah. But underlying there is a craving for peace and the silence.
craving. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anya. Hi. I don't hear you. Anya, you need to unmute. That
No,
little red button there.
I
Cool.
think no, yes. I'm really enjoying this. I just wanted to add a little story that came to my mind in this context. Being in Munich, and then all the stress that sometimes came up to get to the meeting in time. I just had to laugh so much about this thing of actually that happened, you know, like everybody's still, I'm picking you up here and there's into the subway, and then it's like total adrenaline and the total stress to get to the meeting with you in time in Munich. And we had it kind of permanently. and at one point, it was really like I was sitting in that car and I was thinking, wow, you know, and there was this real revelation through the situation that was actually to the top in a way stressful. I was just sort of waking up from it and seeing, there's nothing out there. It's really, there's nothing out there. And it's all this chemicals produced from that little thought that there's something to miss or something to get to.
We'll get to on time. You know, time is such an interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we've been conditioned around that whole idea of time. You know, it's like, being on time, and that makes, you know, that's something, you know, like how much energy has been into that structure of time.
Yeah. And actually that's something that's really daily also in life, because it's so interesting what's happening sort of here. There's no feeling for a time limit at all in the perception. It's this eternity that a bird has got, or that a tree has got, or that nobody owns. It's like, it's just this eternity there.
And then all of a sudden we know I'm going to meet you at 5 o'clock, and then somehow we
Yeah.
running late or whatever, you know. It's
And
just like,
that's this observation then. I mean, sometimes it's really, I mean, I tend to come too late to everything at the moment. I kind of always a bit late, because it's like a passing out for a certain time. I just drop out of time, and it comes sort of, pops up, okay, there's a reminder. I have reminders on my phone or something. And then it's like, while I'm preparing to get to the appointment, I also kind of drop out of time in that sense. I just don't get it that the time passed, and so I'm late. But I'm so, you know, it's like this, it's really a dissolving. There is no time.
there is a time, and yet it's interesting to see that there's in some sense, there's a habit playing.
Yeah.
That shows up consistently with the sense of not doing it quite right.
Yeah, it's like I have to. It's this thing of I have to in it somehow.
And then
Yeah.
some resistance to I have to, or whatever it is. There's something playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's a funny thing.
it's just an opportunity, you know. There's a clear scene. The time was a fabrication, you know, but something's playing in relation to it. That's costing energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, often I have this thing that it's just like, I'm grateful for the calendar, or I'm grateful for the watch, because they already tell me what to do, even though there's something that's knowing that this is the game. And so that I remember Byron Katie, one thing also struck me when she said, so good to have a robot. We call it traffic lights, I think, in other English. But to have a robot to say it's red or it's green. I don't even have to do anything or think. It's all provided. Also, the time frame, calendar, week structure, it's already provided, and it's so good. I mean, it's such a gift, because in that, I don't have to do anything. Never did anything.
Yeah.
It's carrying some kind of information packet so that everything kind of works out by itself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
beautiful.
and you know, and it's, you know, it is interesting to see that in most of us, I would say, there's been some pressure around being on time and conditioning around time. And so, you know, if there's a pattern that plays consistently, in my view, it's worth, okay, yeah, I see there's something playing. There's this habit of coming late. Okay. And you said it, there's some resistance to having to be on time. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then it shows up as coming late.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I can relax with it much more now.
Yeah.
And yeah. And it's just in a way that everything feels beautiful now. That's coming more and more in. It's just like
that's lucky.
I find it sweet to come in a way late, because it shows me that there can be like a kind of compassion also with, I'm only late because I'm more slow, getting older or something like that. And then there's like a compassion of forgetting half of what was important, and seeing the gift that it's not so important anymore. Not even that. And people don't, I mean, I don't hurt anybody. I know that, you know, and by coming late sometimes a little bit or something, there's more loving in this whole appearance, which is just, it's more like, it's not like there's an appearance, oh my God. So it's more like there's an appearance, thank goodness. Well, thank God. Yeah. And how it takes care of itself, you know, like you're traveling to be in it, like nothing goes wrong in a way. I mean, or if something seems to go wrong, then it's good for the
Yeah.
something else. So,
Airlines aren't very good at when you come late, that's clear. I've tried it.
Yeah, in these things, I'm normally even 3 hours too early. Something
Yeah.
is too afraid
Yeah.
to play.
Yeah. Yeah. When
Something
there's a
plays out.
consequence.
Something plays out when it's important. I'm much earlier than I have to be.
Yeah. Have to be, yeah.
Yeah, that's also good. Okay, just wanted to add this nice detail. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Share it.
Hi,
I
I had just a little question coming up um, with this conversation with Kitsi when you said the doubt is coming in. You know, it's the front door and the back door. They're sort of um, uh, uh, you say you don't feed the doubt, huh? And so I have actually a question about talking to yourself. What use does it have? Because you say also often, you know, when you've seen like um, some the mind is having his commands, and you recognize, and then you say, okay, mind, this is good. You try to help me. Now you you can go like that, and then it's like as if you then sort of step into the higher self and say, I know you, like as if there's a division within yourself. And I know there's some psychological, systems like voice dialogue or psychosynthesis or something like that that makes you divide yourself into the judge or the little child within or the parent or there's this whole
so for me it's look, it's just speaking as awareness, not your higher self, not your lower self, nothing, just as awareness. A thought shows up, we can call a thought mind, but really no thought, no mind. What we call mind is just thinking. So a thought shows up, and it might be such an attractive thought, everything wants to run with it, yeah? And you can watch it, okay, wow, this is a thought that has played a million times, like I'm late. How often is that played in us? And something in us speeds up and thinks it makes a difference. And really, our thinking is making excuses why we're late, and, all just the automaticities that come around that conditioning, that program of time. I'm just seeing, okay, it's just playing, it's doing its thing. Nobody's doing it. I'm not doing it for sure. It's something that's just playing in the field of awareness. And it's seen for what it is. It's a pattern, it's a habit, it's whatever you want to call it. It's trying to help in some way, pulling attention in some way. The nervous system responds to it. What does it mean? what to do about any of them.
And well, when it's seen, of course, then it fades away, then it dissolves, I guess.
Exactly.
But when then you say also, you know, I'm not going to feed it, or something like, you know, this is now you can go. Maybe that's a way of saying it, but you know, you can also. I can also, or when I'm in a hurry or I have no time, then I would maybe have the thought, well, I've heard Isaac say there's no time or something like that, and so relax.
Yeah.
Maybe
Just noticing the momentum of the habit to tense up around the thought, I don't have a lot of time. You know, how many times has that thought played in humankind, and how many times has the nervous system contracted around that, that thought? Millions.
Yeah.
It's such a familiar conditioning. But then we see it's you know, that's 2025. I'm not sure if the same thing was playing in 1025 or the years to 0025, you know, so it's like different time, different conditioning, different orientation.
yeah, it seems that time has been speeding up then since then. Like in the old days when in India there was, you know, when Ramana was living, there was other sort
Yeah,
of
first I have to catch the bull and I have to hitch it to the wagon, and then
yeah, there's the sense of time, but there's always been a sense of
yeah,
time, like you
yeah,
know, there's so this moment, this very moment, this is, I mean, usually there is time, but even if even well, what you say, even if there's a little fraction of a second later to I will enjoy after, you know, after uh, then yeah, it's too late already because it's here. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Funny, all these like little thoughts, little things that are, you could say, taken to be real without ever really looking at them, and how much energy has been spent believing in different
Yeah,
conditionings, different ideas.
it seems as you know, I think it has to be a perpetual investigation or
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
inquiry
yeah, 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 yeah.
again
It's
and
a love
again.
affair. It's a love affair. You know, it's like, it's just like, okay, yeah, that's what I'm here for. This is what this life is here for.
Yeah,
Nothing else actually. Doesn't fame, money, anything doesn't bring peace. It's like,
yeah. We'll be seeing. I'll meet you in a few weeks' time. Yes,
look forward.
I'll be
Yeah,
there.
cool.
I have the feeling that I'm arriving at Traunstein and there's some sort of spaceship waiting there and taking me out into the galaxies, and I'll never come back. Something like that.
Great.
Yeah, thank you.
See you soon. Love, peace, beauty. Ah, Evangeline.
Thank you, Isaac, for taking me.
Bye.
Um, at the moment, it's a little bit like Alexandra, or I don't know what her name is. It's for me impossible to stay to be who I am. I even have to take like medicine for it. And yeah, I just wanted a little bit to be with you.
You're welcome. So let's just refine that a little bit. Who you are, you already are. The only thing that there's a momentum of the habits of attention, and they pretty, they kind of, the attention. It's not you. It's just the attention has certain habits with a certain momentum. That's all. Just check it and see if that's true.
Of course, it's true.
Yeah. So that's all. So somehow the attention keeps running to feelings and thoughts and sensations and interpretations. It's trying to help. And when we rest together, it's easier just to rest. So, I mean, to me, it makes so much sense. If it's easier, then to take the opportunity where it's easier.
Mhm.
It's just, of course.
Thank you, Isaac.
Yeah, so it's just like, to me, we can't deny that learning happens. We learn to speak, we learn to walk, we learn to, and so we're learning. There's every time the attention comes back to rest, and we see, yes, it's all as well right here, right now. There's a learning happening. It might be slow, it doesn't matter, but there's definitely a learning that happens. So to be so gentle and not to be, to say, I having difficulty bringing my attention, it has nothing to do with you. It's just old information that hasn't resolved yet. It will. And it's on its way.
Yeah. Just to give you a picture, it's a little bit like a rocket which will fly into space.
Mhm.
And it's this countdown, and it feels like there's nothing I can do about it. Like,
Yeah, that's accurate. There isn't a you to do anything about it. That's where the stress comes, is believing that you can do something about it.
but even if I know that, I know what you say, this is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's a computer, let's put it that way. It's a computer who knows that what you say is it.
Yeah.
The computer has its program, and it's just
Exactly.
this is how it is. Yeah.
So being so gentle with that, just being so gentle with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, it goes, there's something wrong with me and all of that stuff, and that's not useful.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
The computer got it. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. Andrea, thank you for hosting. Thank you, beloveds, for being here. Love, peace, beauty.